Let's get right into it. We're going to map the hidden psychology behind a very specific type of conviction, the kind that makes you defend ideas that were never really yours to begin with.
So here's the central puzzle I want you to consider. Why is it that all of us, will defend a decision so passionately when we feel like we chose it, even if we were subtly guided to that choice? And why do we defend it even more fiercely than an idea that someone just straight up forced on us? It doesn't quite add up, right?
Okay, so the first signal we need to look at is something called the choice illusion. And it really gets at a counterintuitive truth about where our beliefs actually come from.
And this is where you see the core paradox in action. If someone tries to force an idea on you, what's your first instinct? To push back, right? To resist. But when you believe you came to an idea all on your own, you'll defend it to the death. It turns out where the idea actually came from doesn't matter nearly as much as the feeling that you were the one who chose it.
So why does that happen? Well, it's because that simple act of choosing, or what feels like choosing, creates a sense of psychological ownership. It completely transforms an outside suggestion into something deeply personal. It's not just an idea anymore. Suddenly, it's my idea. And as soon as you feel that ownership, your psychological defenses just snap into place. You start justifying the decision, telling yourself it was a product of your own smart thinking. That commitment you made starts to harden, like concrete. And pretty soon, anyone who disagrees with the idea isn't just debating. They're launching a personal attack on you, on your intelligence.
Now, you might think this is just some random glitch in our thinking, but it's not. It's a highly predictable pattern. We call it self-recruited belief, and you see it repeating over and over in all kinds of contexts. It's the process that turns outside influence into your own internal conviction.
And the process itself is, well, it's remarkably seamless. First, there's the guided choice. You're given options, but they're framed in a way that subtly pushes you toward one specific outcome, all while making you feel totally free. Step 2, the ownership kicks in. That choice gets tangled up with your identity. It's my idea now. And the final stage is defense. Your mind goes to work protecting that piece of your identity, usually by shooting down any evidence that might challenge it.
And this pattern is absolutely everywhere. Think about the workplace, when you choose to get behind a new company policy that was, let's be honest, already a done deal. Or in politics, where you adopt a party's talking points and start believing they're your own unique analysis. Marketing is a huge one. You believe that choosing a certain brand says something fundamental about you. It even happens in relationships, when you suddenly decide it's time for a big commitment, when really, it was your partner guiding you there all along. The setting changes, but the psychological pattern, it stays exactly the same.
So what's really going on under the surface? What's the subconscious force that drives this whole thing? Well, that brings us to the core mechanism, internalized influence. This is the moment the outside world's agenda becomes your own, and where control becomes totally invisible.
The engine driving this is something called cognitive dissonance. And this isn't some abstract theory. It's a very real, very uncomfortable pressure we all feel. Basically, our brains hate contradictions. So when our actions, like, say, choosing a belief, clash with new facts that prove it wrong, we feel this intense mental static. And to make that discomfort go away, what's easier? Admitting you were wrong, or just trashing the new evidence? For most of us, it's trashing the evidence.
And this is the key insight. Your mind isn't actually protecting the idea. Not really. What it's protecting is its own choices.
Because it's trying to protect its sense of being a consistent, intelligent person. Think about it. To go back on a belief you feel you chose is basically admitting to a failure in judgment. It's like saying, I was wrong, or I was fooled. That threatens our whole self-concept. So the mind defends the choice just to keep our idea of ourselves intact.
Which brings us to a pretty unsettling conclusion. The most complete, most effective kind of power isn't forcing someone to do something, no. It's the kind of influence that leaves no fingerprints, the kind that you mistake for your own free will.
So if you don't see this mechanism operating, what's the cost? Well, the cost of being unaware is that you end up in a state of what we call predictable conviction. And what does that look like? Well, when you're in that state, you start mistaking your compliance for your own autonomy. You become this incredibly passionate, totally predictable advocate for ideas that were fed to you. And the whole time, you're convinced it all came from you.
You literally can't trace your conviction back to its true source, and because of that, you lose the most important power of all, the ability to step back and objectively reassess what you believe.
But here's the flip side. For people who are aware of this, the advantage isn't some list of tactics or defense mechanisms. It's something much deeper. It's a fundamental shift in how you see the world. It's about learning to see the frame that's been built around the choice.
So let's look at that shift. The default perception, the way most of us operate, is to ask, is this idea right or wrong? We argue about the content. But the aware perception asks a totally different question. Who benefits from me believing this idea is mine? You stop analyzing the picture and start analyzing the frame. Who built it and why?
And that brings us to the final part of this analysis. The point of all this isn't to give you easy answers. It's to give you a sharper set of questions to aim at your own reality.
First, what do you defend most fiercely?
Next, what idea feels like it's a fundamental part of you? Like it's completely yours?
And finally, who shaped that decision?